Kathy Workman. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I joined this church and why I'm still a member here. My husband and I grew up in different denominations, both Protestant, but when we moved to Delano, we didn't have a church, and we kind of shopped around, visited some other churches, and when we came to the Methodist Church, it instantly felt like the right place. It was small, and I'd grown up in a small church. It was comfortable, and it was friendly, and I think that's the reason why we joined that church and decided to stay, even though it was different from the ones that we grew up in. I thought it was interesting. The Methodist sermons were interesting, but their services were kind of simple. They didn't have a lot of liturgy, they didn't have a lot of formality, and I was really comfortable with that, and still am. The thing that I liked about the church is it's, besides being really friendly and welcoming, very socially orientated, and I guess that's kind of the way I grew up too. I love the way that the church does stuff for the community and is involved in the community. And the other thing that I really liked about the Methodist Church and our church is the music. Music is just really important to me, and I love the way the Methodists just kind of sing out. I had a chance to be in the choir, and I had a chance to lead children's music, be involved with VBS music, Christmas program music, and it just brings me joy. I think that's a wonderful way to worship, and so I love the way they do it in the Methodist Church. A joyful memory I have of this church are the canoe trips that we used to take. We would gather anybody that was interested, it didn't matter how old or how young they were, and we would take canoes and we'd go over to the Namakagon River in Wisconsin, and we would take canoe trips every summer. It started out Wednesday night. We would all get together in the church basement and we'd make sandwiches for lunches. And then the other meals were assigned to a family or families, so they would be in charge of breakfast, they'd be in charge of dinner. Then we packed everything up. We had a canoe trailer that carried 8 canoes, and some people brought their own canoes, and we'd go to the Namakagon with our canoes, our tents, our food, and we would make a base camp, and then we would canoe down the river, and sometimes we would move that camp, sometimes we'd come back to the base camp, but we just had the best time. I remember sending my son with their friends. I mean, they were maybe in 3rd grade, and they would be in their own canoes. We would have water wars, we would have little figureheads on our canoes sometimes, and after playing in the river all day long, we would have these great meals at night. I remember one night, Steve Gilmer had caught a lot of crawfish, and he cooked them up for us. We would just have fun sitting on the campfires. We used to have like the women's tents and the men's tents and the kids' tents. So you wasn't necessarily with your family. I thought that was really great for building relationships. Although the year that Cheryl and Fred Gordon came, we let them tent together. We used to just do such fun things. The kids would do bridge jumping. We would go down this thing called the chute, and then we would try to paddle back up the chute against the current. Nobody ever had any success, but we always had great fun. And after about 3 days and 2 nights of camping and canoeing, getting to know the other members of the church in just a different way, we would just come back home and we would try to be here for that Sunday service. It was great times. I really miss doing that. I'd do that again in a heartbeat. My prayer for the Delano United Methodist Church this coming year, one, that we are able to gather together again to worship in the sanctuary the way that we used to, with all the people, the visiting, shaking hands, singing together. That's what I really liked about the church. Knowing that that might not be possible, my prayer is that we can continue to be a church family with however we do that, if we do it over Zoom or if we do it over small groups, or it's like a family, and I just want us to stay together however that may be.